Guys, today we're going to talk about box and whisker plots. And the I can statements we're working on are I can create dot plots, histograms, and box plots from data, and I can find and interpret measures of variation and measures of center. And we're going to focus on box plots today, and box plots really focus on measures of variation. So we'll talk more on measures of variation later, though. Let's look at this table. It summarizes a veterinarian's record for kitten litters born in a given year. So, for one litter had a size of two kittens born. 6 litters were litters of 3 kittens. 8 litters had 4 kittens in them. 11 litters had 5 kittens in them, and 1 litter had 6 kittens in them. And what we're going to do and what we need to do with the box plot is divide our data into what we call quartiles. Now, quart means 4. So what we're doing when we find quartiles is dividing our data set into 4 equal parts. The third quartile minus the first quartile is going to be the range of the middle half. And we'll talk about that once we look at a box plot, okay? So here is my kitten data. My 1 litter that had 2, 1 litter, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 litters that had 3. So I wrote out for all of those. And the first thing I'm going to want to do when I go to make a box plot is I need to find what's called a 5-point summary. And that consists of several different medians that we find from our data, or the numbers that divide my data into 4 equal parts. So I'm going to start by finding my median, which is 4. Now, this is also sometimes referred to as the second quartile. Now I look at my lower half. I need to find the median of my lower half. In this case, it's 3. So 3 is my first quartile. Now look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of data to the left of my first quartile, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of data to the right of my quartile, my first quartile, that stops at my median. I'm going to do the same thing with my upper half. I'm going to find the median here. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of data separate the median and my third quartile, which is 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of data then go to the right of it. So I've split my data into 4 equal parts, okay? So because our range, we talked about how outliers can affect my range. Sometimes you might want to use the range of your first and third quartile because it tells me a lot about the middle half of my data. And that's going to be a good representation sometimes of my data set, better than the range might show with an outlier. So that's one reason why we look at those quartiles to find ranges. So let's talk about how we do that. Find the first and third quartiles for this data set. So there are 3 steps. Step 1, I'm going to order my data. Step 2, I'm going to find my median, which in this case is 78. Notice it's not part of the data set. So I'm not going to use it when I go to find my first quartile. I'm going to look at the lower half of my data. Notice that there are 2 data items there. So I need to add them up and divide by 2, which gives me 69 as my first quartile. Then I look at my upper half of the data and find the median there. 79 plus 88 divided by 2 is 83.5. So that is my first quartile, comes in here. It's 69. And my third quartile comes in here. It's 83.5. Now it's your turn. I want you to find the first and third quartiles for each of these problems. Pause the video and give it a shot. Okay, let's see how you did. For number 1, I ordered my data. Notice there is a median. So I'm going to look at just these 3 numbers to the the left to find my first quartile, which is 15. And then the numbers to my right to find my third quartile, which is 75. So here we go. First quartile, second quartile, third quartile. For number 2, I order my data. I notice there is no middle number. So I'm going to add these two, divide by 2, 48 is going to be my median. But my first quartile, I have to add 33 and 45, divide by 2, I get 39. And for my third quartile, I'm going to add 49 and 59, divide by 2, and get 54. So why do we need to know this? We need to know this to make a box and whisker plot, which shows the distribution of data. Now remember, the middle half we talked about earlier is represented by this box. Okay, so the middle 50% of our data is going to fall in here, which means that each section of this box and whisker plot represents 25% of my data set, the number of values in the set. So let's look at what these dots mean. Here's my first quartile. It goes on the end of the left end of my box. My median goes in the middle. It gets a line down the center. My third quartile is the right side of my box. And these two ends are the lower and upper extreme, or the minimum and the maximum. So altogether, that's 5 points that I need to create a box plot. So let's talk about how to make it. If I have this data, I'm going to find my quartiles and my maximum and my minimum. So the first thing I need to do is step 1, order the data. Find the smallest value, first quartile, median, third quartile, largest value. So here's my data. Notice there is no middle number, okay? So I'm going to have to add 19 and 19, divide by 2 to get my median. My smallest value is 13. My largest value is 25. Now I need to find my quartiles. So my lower quartile is 15 plus 17 divided by 2, it's 16. My upper quartile is 21 plus 21 divided by 2, that's 21. And we know our median, or our second quartile, is 19. Because 19 plus 19 divided by 2, that's 19. Now I have 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that make up my 5-point summary. So step 1 is really to find your 5-point summary. Then with step 2, I'm going to use that 5-point summary. I'm going to draw a number line and plot a point above each value that I got from step 1, my 5-point summary. So I'm going to plot those 5 above the number line. That's step 2. Step 3, I'm going to draw a box around my first quartile and my third quartile, a line down the center for my median, and then a whisker from my first and third quartile out to my maximum and minimum. And now I have a box and whisker plot. So now it's your turn. Remember the steps. 1, order the data and find your 5-point summary. Step 2, draw a number line and plot your 5-point summary above the number line. And step 3, the fun step, draw your box and whiskers. So go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. Okay, let's see how you did. When we ordered our data, we found our values, 23, 25, 30, 32, and 35. Then we drew a number line and plotted our points above the number line. So that 5-point summary we found in step 1. Finally, we draw our box and whiskers. And we have a box and whisker plot. We are done with this video. You can go back and watch any portion as many times as you need, or watch the whole thing. But don't forget to WSQ in your notes.